internet access, public internet access, you keep it outside your organization. Similarly, in the ICS environment, any computer that requires outside intervention, you keep them out. So the inside the network of ICS is not accessed that much oftenly. Like if this data historian server, I have to access logs, I have to do analysis on certain devices, I have to monitor their behaviors, I have like monitoring software. So that if I'll access the data historian server inside the ICS, then a lot of applications will be going inside ICS and taking that data. So what I will do, I will take out that data historian server. I will either put it in the IT network, which is also a risky, or I will create a DMZ. So any guy who needs to access the data historian server should not go inside the ICS network and can access that data from the outside. So here implementation of DMZ is a bit different. From OT perspective, I have said like we have to think reverse: availability, integrity, and then confidentiality. So I hope this answers your question. Specific vendor solely for OT. Yeah, honestly, Naveed, we cannot be brand specific here. We cannot tell any brand about here, but whatever OEM you are working with, you can call them and they can brief you about what OT firewalls they're working in. So on this platform, I cannot name any vendor. There are few good, but you can call your OEM and they can brief you. If they have, they will tell you. If they don't have, you can browse the internet and you can get a lot of. Okay, they need to be OT aware and they need to understand the OT protocol. Okay.
Welcome to Global Information Security Society for Professionals of Pakistan.
Go and store that data historian. Here we have removed this firewall. If you see, we are not using firewall here. We are not using router here. So we have introduced a proxy server. If any PLC will go outside this network, it will only go to data historian. That's a whitelisting that I have set. No device from the outside can come to any PLC other than data historian. And if data historian has a function of writing back to PLC, fine. But normally data historian don't have that function. So if I want to allow any computer to send certain data to certain PLC, I will control it through proxy server. If I need to configure certain PLC to write certain data to data historian, I will configure it through proxy server. From the OT network, they will not know what's happening in the IT network, and from the IT network, they will not know what's happening inside the PLC network. Similarly, network switches, we can introduce these network switches. We can do the segmentation, segment A, segment B. The proxy that we discussed before, the things can be more managed on the switch level. We can segment that, okay, these segment B can go to this control server only, and that segment A can go to PLC devices only. And here we say that we have proxy as well. We have firewall as well. That you see here, the IT network switch, getting from certain segment, taking the data, sending it to the control server in the OT network. Now, security zoning models. So these zoning models, they have been introduced. Like normally we have zones inside normal IT environment as well. So when we talk about OT environment, we also have certain zones like written here. One is like a zone that is only controlling network devices, a zone that is performing data for the production environment, and a zone that is, amongst the administration level, or, at the high executive departments, the research, HR, and all these departments. So we create these zones in IT and OT environments as well. So the typical diagram that you are seeing is of, defense in depth. If we recall this defense in depth, this picture, that if you have to come from outside to inside, you have to bypass a lot of devices to get inside. Normally in security, there's a discussion that, okay, why we install a lot of security devices? Why not we just install one thing and say, okay, we are secure? So the main way, the main answer to that question is, we have to ensure the defense in depth. Defense in depth is, if one control fails, other will respond. If that fails, other will respond. And while the attacker, he wants to get into the center of his target, the alerts will be raised and we can catch that guy before it reaches to the core. But if we have like only one control, so it can easily compromise that in control, and it will, by the time we will respond, it will be too late to act, because there was no security there, or the defense in depth concept was not there. So similarly uh, in ICS implementation, we have zoning as well. We introduce a VLAN switch. That VLAN switch will segregate the SCADA zone. It will segregate the concentrators. The concentrators are the PLC devices that are receiving data from the SCADA. It will go to the VLAN switch and it will say, okay, go towards there. We have engineering zone, a zone, the guys who are sitting on the computers, who are seeing the data, who are performing the troubleshooting on the concentrators through the SCADA. So the engineering zone must have an access to the SCADA zone, and the SCADA zone will only have access to the concentrator zone. And if some guy who has to manage from his home, he can come from the internet and he can go to his engineering zone and then to the SCADA zone. So we can do this zone partitioning through a VLAN switch. Here's the act of VLAN switch that we have introduced. Now there comes a very important role of this data diode. Like I have talked about this. What is data diode? Data diode is basically a device that provides a conversion of IT, OT, data traveling. Like data diode is a thing that provides data flow in either one direction. Either it can take data or it can fetch data one at a time. So this provides a kind of a security where we can ensure that if any malicious data is getting in, we can do the packet inspection properly. And if certain data is getting out and bringing some, non compliant thing, or non-known thing, a different pattern of data is coming out from any programmable logical control unit. So we can do the deep packet inspection and study that. It is considered as the most valuable asset for the enterprise, the implementation of this ICS, the data diodes. And it also provides a kind of a security or element to do or implement this zone partitioning thing. So once again, then there's another pictorial view of how we can install the data diodes. We can create data zones. We can keep certain data servers in certain zone, and we can keep certain data out of that zone, and we can control the flow of data with the help of data diodes. I think if you guys have certain questions, you can send that in comment, because we are reaching to the end of time. I think I will take last 4 or 5 minutes for the answering the questions, and then we can I can answer these questions later on a channel that Siddharth Bhai can tell me. But as of now, we'll take only last 5 minutes. We have 15 minutes remaining.
आमिर भाई कितनी स्लाइड्स रहेगी आपकी?
Siddharth Bhai, I think there are 15-20 more.
No problem, you can continue. But if you think that there is a lot of work, we can do next week also, by the way, second half.
Yes, Siddharth Bhai, as I've told, because I have tried to cover a lot of things here, but still a lot of things are still remaining. We can break it up. We can do the risk assessment on these sessions. We can have a separate session on the pen testing. We can have a separate session where we can discuss tools and open source technologies for this ICS.
Honestly, I was saving it to the last. लेकिन मैंने पहले भी 2 अटेंड किए सेशन, तो सर माशाल्लाह you have put a lot of efforts. आपने ना से कहते ना दरिया को कूजे में बंद कर दिया है. तो it's amazing session actually, and I'm very surprised. इसमें इतनी चीजें हैं कि I think I have to say it 2 to 3 times to understand it. एक
Yes,
दफा
yes.
पे तो मुश्किल है इसका. तो
Indeed.
I will suggest कि अगर हम यहीं पे इसी पे रोक लें, अगर 20 स्लाइड हमारे पास है तो बाकी हम नेक्स्ट वीक कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि वो ओपन है हमारे पास अभी तक.
Okay, okay,
So,
okay.
and mashallah, if you see today, we had up to 60 people, and now we have 51 people. So we can upload this part and then let people come for more, you know. So for now, this 10-15 minutes we can use for the questions in the chat. You can look at the
Right,
chat
right.
and you can start from
Yes,
the top.
yes. I have Asad. He has asked the first question. Remotely from configuring troubleshooting purpose. Okay. Like I said, in the picture, I think I have to really get back previously to the previous picture. The question asked by Ahmed is that how, if we have to configure any device remotely, how we can reach. So, Asad, I have told the role of DMZ here. Okay, we can keep a server inside the DMZ from the internet, and that DMZ server will go to the from the firewall to the designated network that will provide as a, in this network, you can see there is an IT network computer. So any from internet, he will come through firewall router, he will reach to his server through a remote, whatever the security terminologies or terms you use to get a, two-factor authentication, all security control will be there for the remote. And now he has got his terminal, so he will get into the router and firewall, and then he can access any supervisory control systems. So the IT security will act first, and then the OT security will come. He will land into his server or computer, whatever he has access to. And from there, we call it as a jump server. And from that jump server, he will route into that particular SCADA console. And in that SCADA console, he can access, he can send whatever requirement he has to, whatever update he has to perform through that VLAN switch. So this is how he will ensure the OT security and IT security simultaneously. Okay. The next question, Muniza, why DMZ here? Muniza, DMZ is a concept. DMZ we have built here. The purpose of DMZ here, DMZ is to, expose a certain thing that is not required to have lot security, because you know that in normal website you will receive attacks daily, but you cannot keep that website server inside your data center because you have to open an internet for that. So all computers having internet access, public internet access, you keep it outside your organization. Similarly, in the ICS environment, any computer that requires outside intervention, you keep them out. So the inside, the network of ICS is not accessed that much oftenly. Like if this data historian server, I have to access logs, I have to do analysis on certain devices, I have to monitor their behaviors, I have like monitoring software. So that if I'll access that data historian server inside the ICS, then lot of applications will be going inside ICS and taking that data. So what I will do, I will take out that data historian server. I will either put it in the IT network, which is also a risky, or I will create a DMZ. So any guy who needs to access the data historian server should not go inside the ICS network and can access that data from the outside. So here implementation of DMZ is a bit different from OT perspective. I have said like we have to think reverse: availability, integrity, and then confidentiality. So I hope this answers your question. Specific vendors sorry for OT. Yeah, honestly, Naveed, we cannot be brand specific here. We cannot tell any brand about here, but whatever OEM you are working with, you can call them and they can brief you about what OT firewalls they're working in. So on this platform, I cannot name any vendor. There are few good, but you can call your OEM and they can brief you. If they have, they will tell you. If they don't have, you can browse the internet and you can get a lot of. Okay, they need to be OT aware and they need to understand the OT protocols. Okay, OT protocols are, they were coming in. So, but we ran out of time. Like I said, OT security cannot be summed up in this 1.5 hour question time. We need a lot more time. So, yeah, a lot of OT protocols are there, both on the wired and wireless. And we have it on the plate as we will proceed on this slide. Okay, we will cover it. Protocols has a lot of yeah. You talk about the Purdue model. The Purdue model, we have to discuss it in the coming slides, and we will discuss it this Purdue model. Has been replaced by this ISA, the ISA standard. So Purdue is old now. We have new ISA standard here. That is, I think, 410, and we will discuss that. Thank you, Shabazz. Thank you for your comments. Yes, there are a lot of free resources for that. I will ask you to Google on it. And SANS, they have certain modules that are free. You can go and browse them and you can study. And especially this ISA people, they have a lot of guides available. ISA is a automation international standard for automations. You can learn about a lot of standards there. And this CIS, they have OT control, cybersecurity controls as well. There are like 18 controls. I have to brief you about it. I think if you go, I'll tell you in a shorter while. Yeah, these CIS controls, you can download this guide. It's free. These are for critical security controls for the ICS environment. Mostly are the same, like the access control, access softwares, and you can learn a lot about it. Threats to OT is a very detailed topic, but threats to OT are a lot. I hope if you have remembered, there's a movie called as Die Hard. I think it's the third season of it. They have shown how the guy has taken the entire city control. It got into like traffic system. It got into a power distribution system. It got into like smart meters that I have showed. So that smart meters can be compromised and you can turn down the entire electricity of a city. So, because with automation, there are a lot of threats coming in. So, if a certain guy in certain company or control system, control environment can access your home's meter, and if that channel is compromised, so they can turn down the entire city electricity, or they can control it. So threat is dependent on what kind of a OT environment we're talking about. If we're talking about gas thing, there's certain pressure of gas we need to send towards houses, and if we increase that pressure, that variable that I talked about, so it can blow up the houses, it can blow up the streets. Similarly, the water pressure, if I increase it, it will blow away the houses as well with the water pressure. So there are a lot of threats, and especially on this ICS and OT environment, the damage is very, very high. Yeah, data diode is communicating in half duplex, and this is how we ensure the security. Uh, we will explore it further as we'll proceed on these slides, inshallah, next week. Firewall policies and network policies can also act as a data diode. You can control the direction of data flow. No, because it's about channel. It's not about the policy. Data diode, the data that is getting inside the ICS is from a totally different channel from a data that is into two separate pipes. One pipe in data diode taking data inside, and one pipe taking data outside. So if you perform deep packet inspection for the data coming in, you can provide a less checks. You can install more checks on the devices that are sending the data to that data diode. So the availability is not hampered. But when the data is coming out from any ICS, okay, it is coming out. You can perform more deep packet inspection, and you can you can stop any device sending bad signals to any other device. Like I explained in my first slide that this is a basic process control flow. So all ICS processes are connected with each other. So the data coming out from the devices can damage the another process, or can damage the device who is taking its data as an input. Tariq, thank you. Okay, so we'll have another session. Follow GISSP, GISPV, you will get that information about the sessions. Vulnerability scans for OT devices. Mostly people prefer to have passive scans, but we can perform active scans as well. Like how NISIS work, there are tools. NISIS is for OT as well. Oh, sorry, I should have not taken the name, but they have like OT variant as well. It can perform the passive scan, it can perform the active scans, totally depending upon what approach you prefer. VPN to reach to any SCADA system, you need terminal workstations, the engineering workstations. So you can have a VPN until that engineering workstation. Prior to that workstation, you cannot reach to any OT device through a VPN. You can do the tunneling, that is something else, but you cannot reach through a VPN to an OT device. For that, you need supervisory control servers, computers, which you can access as a VPN. Jump server, air gap. No, jump server and air gap are not same. In this, because we have a lot of zones in OT. So we can use this jump server concept until some level where IT environment is. If we are getting into OT environment, we don't have any jump servers. OT audit will be a different subject. We'll try to do it in a totally separate session. It is not preferable to connect these devices to the internet. We definitely have some kind of a protection before, like I showed you that model in which we are coming to a terminal server through normal VPN thing, and then workstations, a normal enterprise environment workstation, they are getting into OT environment through the set of controls. Raja Asad, I hope I answered your question. Okay, API based, we will discuss in the next session. Ransomware, ransomware is because OT is, like I said, it's a very dynamic environment. It's not storing any information. Ransomware risks are there if there is some data. We ransom for that data. So the data historian computer, the terminal or server that is data historian can have a ransomware risk, but definitely we must be creating like backups from that data historian. So we are addressing it. Still, ransomware risks are there in IT/OT convergence, and that is only limited to that. And yes, the SCADA servers, their configurations, the things that if they are stored in certain configuration file and somebody locks it, that risk from the ransomware is there. Because these SCADA systems, they have a lot of configuration files in their own format, and they have the risk of ransomware. Thank you, Majid. Thank you, Seema. Thank you, Tariq. Okay, Tariq is. AI can be a threat to OT, definitely, because if like in industrialization is going towards 5.0, industry 5.0, and there is where AI is coming and where cloud is coming. If I show you, I have, yeah. In this slide, you can see a lot of cloud things are happening. This is ICS 4.0, the Purdue model, Purdue architecture that the guy was asking. So AI algorithm, if I corrupt any AI algorithm, it can corrupt the entire its productivity. And if that OT, if any certain component providing certain data, it's going through any AI algorithm, and that AI algorithm has been corrupted, so definitely it will provide bad output to the next process in this ICS basic process control. So if that basic process is relying on AI, it will definitely it can compromise the entire ICS chain. Any certificate for OT audit and compliance? Yeah, these ICA guys, they have it. We'll discuss it in our next session. Thank you, Kamran. Shazad Bhai will tell about all the next session. Thank you, Tare. Zero trust. Okay, thank you, man. Zero trust, we have talked about this zoning thing. We can achieve that, if we create these zones, we can achieve the zero trust. Actually, zero trust is a zone. So if I will not allow anything in and out inside my ICS environment, that's a zero trust. And if I'm only allowing certain segment to come inside, that is the zero trust. Yeah, it will come more in detail.
ठीक है सर, thanks a lot आमिर भाई, I was really impressed. आपने माशाल्लाह, ये तो मेरा गला खराब हो रहा है शायद आज, but it was an amazing session, very nice, lot of information which I think we need maybe more time to watch again and again to observe. So inshallah, let's plan the next session. We had something planned for the next Saturday, but that we got free. Now it's free. Next week is free, so we can do the second part, inshallah. And if you feel we can do more, then we can plan for the next month, December and January. We have like a lot of opportunities. My plan is we can do every Saturday on different topics. And OT is a topic which most people don't know much about. Even for me or myself, I have been in the industry for like 20 years, but OT, I never worked on OT side, you know. So it is amazing information to know. And yes, you are right. The consequences are very high. Imagine somebody's turning on the gas pressure or shutting down the smart meters. A lot of things can happen. A lot of damage can be done. And unfortunately, I believe, as I was told some time ago, that even the devices in the industry, they are still on default passwords, most of them. And some have no passwords at all. So
firmware updates, they have like very outdated firmwares.
Yeah. So like there are a lot of issues because those people don't understand technology. So they just want availability, you know, as the main concern. So yes, that can cause a problem also if there's not enough information and all that.
And
Alhamdulillah,
especially,
using our platform, we will try to give awareness to the people. Our current, we did 2 sessions before, and both of them are very amazing. So anybody who came today to our session and he wants to learn more, okay, watch out the old sessions while I upload this one, and then we will have multiple sessions, inshallah, in the future. And hopefully, we'll make some OT experts from on the Gispp platform. Amir bhai, thanks again. You are a superstar. Mashallah, you have done great.
Thank you
And
so much.
I really appreciate. I'm very impressed. So, mashallah, with the small time, maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks you had, and you did a great job. Best of luck, sir. Inshallah,
Thank you.
we'll submit it again, and we'll do one more meeting next week, inshallah.